Biology, I'm here to help you graph the data from the experiment about invasive species. So basically, what I'm going to do is recreate the two tables in Google Sheets. I'm going to fill in the averages, and I'm going to make two separate bar graphs. So the first thing I need to do is find the data. This picture is very small, so I'm going to zoom in a bunch of times. Let's click the magnifying glass. Zoom once, not enough. Twice, that's good. Okay, now I'm going to have my two tabs side by side. I want to see the data and I want to see Google Sheets. So there goes that. And my Google Sheets is totally empty, which is fine. Okay. So the first thing that I do is I just copy what this picture has in it. So I'm going to have one column titled species status, and then average number of insects per plant. My next column is percent leaves with damage from insect herbivores. Does it look beautiful? No, but like no one's going to see this part. I'm going to have a bunch of invasive species. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to click the little corner at the bottom of this invasive box. I'm going to drag it down. Now I have 10 boxes highlighted, including the first one. When I release, it copies invasive into all the boxes. I'm going to do that one more time with native to show you this cool shortcut. The next category is native, and let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have one already. I'm going to click and drag the corner down 9 more boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then let go. All right. So my first column's done. Next, I'm going to be copying the numbers into the first column. Just bear with me. I know it'll take a second. But this is exactly how you guys are going to do it. The reason why we need to copy all of this data over is because we're going to use Excel to do math for us. I think I copied my data wrong. Let me double check that. There should be 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's good. Could you do these calculations by hand? Yes, but I'm not sure I would trust your data. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Okay, now I'm ready to fill in my last column where I'm just copying data over. This is percent of leaves with damage from insect herbivores. 33.9, 13.3, 86.3. 34.7. Sorry, this is taking a while. Okay, I've finished all the invasive species. Next, I'll go down to native. Okay, now I have all the data copied over. I'm going to color code it like they did just so it's easier for me to see. They made all the invasive species data orange, so I'm going to highlight all that data, click the bucket and the color orange. Next, native, I'll highlight everything, click the bucket, and click yellow. That makes it easier for me to see everything. Okay, now I need to create a place for my data to go, the data that I'm going to graph. So I'm going to make a new table. I'll just pick a random place on the sheet. It doesn't really matter. We're going to have species status as our categories. Our categories are invasive and native. The first table is going to display the average number of insects per plant. That's our first type of data. Next, underneath that, I'm going to make a whole new separate table that also has the same two categories of invasive or native species status. But we're measuring a different dependent variable here. Instead of number of insects per plant, this graph is going to be the average percent of leaves with insect damage. Now here comes the important part. I'm about to calculate the average number of insects per plant for invasive species. It's an average, so type in equals average parentheses. Now we want to highlight our data. It's in that middle column, number of insects per plant, and make sure you only highlight the invasive species. Once they're all highlighted, you can press enter, and there is the number that you'll put in your graph. Next, we'll do the same thing, equals average parentheses for the native species. Highlight just the native species, average number of insects per plant. Press enter. Cool. Next, for invasive species, we're going to do the same process except we're averaging different data. So this time we want to average the percent of the leaf with damage. Press enter to calculate. Last step, we're going to do the last average. So that's the percent of leaves with damage from our native species, and press enter. We have all of our averages calculated, so now it's time to graph. We'll do the top one first. Highlight your table, press insert, chart. It came up as a pie chart. We don't want that. So from the drop-down, select what looks like a bar graph. It's a column chart. Things look pretty good. We have an x-axis label, we have a y-axis label, we have a title, not too shabby. You could screenshot this graph and put it in your virtual notebook. I'm going to do that right now with my own. I'm also going to fill in my averages in my virtual notebook. So now I am going to copy data from the sheet into my notebook. Okay, I'm copying 0.089. Next, I'm copying 0.088. We can see in this table and we can see in the graph that those are hilariously similar numbers. But if we look deeper at the data, you can see why this might have happened. Now, most of the native species did 0 damage, okay? There was 0 damaged leaves on the plant. There was just one plant that had a ton of damage. So, yikes. I guess that outlier really affected our averages. I don't know how I feel about our graph. I think we needed a larger sample size. But I'll put the graph in anyway. I'm just dragging it over from my desktop into our notebook, and then I'm going to shrink it down to a good size. That looks good. And I'm going to stick it where the graph goes. Cool. So I've done the first set of data. Next, for the second set, first I'll copy down the averages I calculated, 34.78% and 32.73%. Now I need a graph, so highlight everything, go to Insert, Chart. This time it came up as a bar graph, which is pretty cool. It's like it knows us now. Let's check if there's anything we need to change. We have axis labels. We have a title. Not bad. I'm going to screenshot it. Of course, screenshotting works differently for me than it does for you on a Chromebook. And my last step is to just take that graph, stick it in the notebook, shrink it down, and slide to the right. I hope that this helped make the graphing part easier for y'all. Of course, I'm not done with my page because I still have a lot of analysis to do. Please let me know if I can help you with any other part of this piece of data. See you guys later.